And there's reason 2 why I haven't been working on the Corvette. Things started dying out on me while I was cutting the grass. And I'll try to make a long story short, but it's a long story. First, after diagnosing it, I found out that the carburetor was just flooding, so I ordered a carburetor and I got it, replaced it, wouldn't start. So after diagnosing that, it wasn't getting gas. So I essentially, to make it short, I replaced the fuel line from the fuel tank all the way up to the carburetor. And once I did that, I was getting gas. And the carburetor flooded out again. So I took the new carburetor off, and it had debris in the needle seat. So I cleaned that out, and I had gotten through pretty close to one cutting of the grass. So I cleaned that out, put it back on, and again I got through one cutting of the grass, and again it was flooding out, and again there was debris in the needle seat, so I cleaned that out. And I put it back on. When I put it back on, from taking it on and off several times, it was acting like it had a vacuum leak. So I took it off again, put some gasket sealer on the gasket between the carburetor and the manifold, and thought that was going to make it run okay. And it did run, but it was running a little bit lean. I had to keep the choke out while it was running. And halfway through cutting the grass, a part that supports the mower deck fell off of the tractor. So at this point, I was pretty much done with that. And so I ordered this, which is a 0-turn with a steering wheel. Works really good, but again, this cost me another several days of working on the Corvette, because I bought it through Home Depot and they said they would deliver it to my driveway for free. And I was like, cool, I'm ordering it. So I ordered it and they did deliver it. However, they called me on a Friday before Memorial Day and said, if you return this call before 4 p.m., we can deliver this Tuesday. So I called them and set up the delivery for Tuesday, and I asked the guy, is this for sure going to come Tuesday? And he said, yeah, I'm going to take this paperwork, I'm going to put it on the desk of the guy that does the loading, and it'll be on the truck first thing Tuesday morning. Okay. Guaranteed? Yeah, guaranteed. So Tuesday about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, while I'm waiting for them to deliver it, the freight company calls and says, we want to deliver your mower tomorrow. I said, they told me it was going to be delivered today. Well, you know, at that point, there's nothing you can do about that. So I said, okay, deliver it tomorrow. Next, they told me they'd deliver it before noon. So it becomes noon. Meanwhile, I had gotten an email from Home Depot saying it would be delivered between 9 and 1. So, okay, noon comes and they're not there yet. Said, I'll give them till 1. I gave them till 1. Still not there. I said, okay, if it's not here by 2, I'm calling them. So 2 o'clock comes, still not there. I call them. It was on the truck, scheduled for delivery, and the lift gate on the truck broke, and they had to take it back to the terminal, unload everything, and load everything back on. Apparently I was going to be one of the early deliveries, and they must have taken the last thing, which is this mower, off of the truck, put it on the new truck first, which now I became last, so it was 7 o'clock at night, 7:30 at night when he finally showed up. Again, nothing you can do about that, but I was expecting him to drive the thing off of the truck and drive it down my driveway and be done. Well, no. It was in a crate. It wasn't a solid crate, but it was a complete box frame. It had a top, and it had, several slats going across the top and up the sides and cross braces and all that. And the bottom of the thing had a board sticking up here in front of the back wheel, a board sticking up here in back of the back wheel, a board sticking up here in back of the front wheel, and a board sticking up here in front of the front wheel. So you weren't going to easily drive that off of the pallet. Oh, this whole crate was sitting on a pallet. So now I'm like, okay. Checking out the crate that it was in, I decided I could get my Sawzall in there and cut away the crate and then use the ramps from my lift to drive it off of the pallet by putting them right next to the pallet. And that was a good idea, except the guy had trouble getting the crate off of the truck. It got hung up on the chain on the tailgate. And in the process of getting it off, he basically moved the pallet from the center of the crate so that if I had cut out the crate, this left rear wheel would not have been resting on the pallet. So what I did is I put a jack underneath the crate, lifted up the crate, and pulled the pallet, or pushed it, so that the wheel would be sitting above the pallet on all wheels. So that was good. Only had to jack it up a little bit to do that. The next problem was either I was going to have to do a lot of cutting in awkward places to try and get those boards that were acting as wheel chocks in front and back of the front and rear wheels, or I had to pretty much cut that crate in small enough pieces so that I could remove that. So what I ended up doing, fortunately I have a high lift jack, and I was able to jack up the front end under this piece and the rear end under this frame here where the trailer hitch would attach. I haven't put the trailer hitch on yet. It's just for a lawn trailer, it's the kind like, it gives you a hole like this so that you can do lawn accessories. It's not for pulling a over-the-road trailer. So anyways, I used my Sawzall and I cut that in enough places so that by jacking up one end at a time, I could put the wheels down on the pallet and then the ramps in front of the pallet and put some gasoline in her and drive it off. So on the delivery options, there were, I wish I had taken pictures or videos of this thing. When it was on the crate or in the crate, so that you could tell better what I was doing. But that crate was made out of some of the hardest wood I've ever seen, because it probably took me about 6 or 7 hours to cut it apart into small enough pieces so that I could put it in the trash. So I spent pretty much another day doing that. And I guess I was able to cut the grass, and even though this is narrower than the old mower because it's a zero turn, the zero turn's quicker, so in the long run it didn't cost me any extra time cutting the grass for the one time that I've cut it. There's two things about it that I wish were different. Number one is I got kind of long legs, and I wish that seat would go back further. As you can see, there's right here, there's a groove, but there's only one hole to put the front bolt through. So I think I'm going to end up drilling a hole a couple inches back on each side of that and mounting the seat further back, because there's a couple inches between that and the engine shroud. But I think I can get myself another inch or two of legroom. So that's one issue with it. The other thing is, and my neighbor had told me I should get a zero turn with a suspension on it because of bouncing. And I would have, except this was the only one with the steering wheel. Okay, and I have a lot of pine trees up there that I try to cut as close to as I can. And the problem there is, if you have the type that has two levers, you can't let go of one of the levers to knock the bushes out of the way or trees out of the way while you're cutting, or the mower will start to turn, and if you release them both, it'll stop. So you really can't handle going under low stuff like that very easily with a zero turn with the levers for the steering. So glad I got that, but because I don't have the suspension, it gets a little bouncy because my yard isn't the smoothest. And the way this is set up, unlike my old mower, if you hit bumps and you bounced off the seat a little bit, it would cut out the engine momentarily, but when you came back down on the seat, it would restart. This one's set up that if you come off of the seat momentarily, and there were a couple times I was just trying to readjust my position in the seat, and I kind of got up, the blade disengages. Even though you're right back down on it, once it disengages, it's disengaged, period. So I don't like that. I doubt that there's a way I can rig that so that it will only momentarily disengage. But maybe I'll see if I can look into that. I don't want to I don't want to defeat the safety of stopping the blades as soon as you get off the seat, because that wouldn't be smart. But I would like it so that if I just kind of get up to readjust my seating position or hit something that's a big bump, that, bounces me off the seat. It'd be nice if that would re-engage as soon as I got back on the seat. So anyways, long explanation as to why. Haven't done anything on that. And I don't have much time today, and I've spent so much time explaining why I haven't been working on it that I probably won't get much done today, but I'm going to try.